The galaxy was burning. Zextal pressed his three-fingered hand against the cold metal wall of the command center. His purple skin had turned pale with fear. Outside the thick windows, he could see the dark ships of the Void Hunters moving closer, to his home world of Kalara Prime. "Commander, they will be here in 2 hours," said his aide, a young female named Yira. Her voice shook as she spoke. "Our shields are failing. Our weapons cannot hurt their ships." Zextal closed his 4 eyes and tried to think. The Void Hunters had already destroyed 12 worlds in their sector. They took no prisoners. They left nothing alive. Every planet they visited became a dead rock floating in space. The Kala people were peaceful. They had never built strong weapons or trained soldiers for war. Why would they? For 3,000 years, their part of the galaxy had been quiet and safe. They grew food, made art, and studied the stars. They had never needed to fight anyone. But now the monsters had come. "Sir, we are getting messages from all over the planet," Yira said, looking at her screen. "People are asking what to do. They want to know if help is coming." Zextal felt his heart sink. Help? Who would help them? The Galactic Council was too far away. Even if they sent ships, it would take weeks for them to arrive. The nearby worlds were already running from the Void Hunters or had been destroyed. "Commander, there is one thing we have not tried," Yira said quietly. "What is that?" "The old emergency beacon. The one from the ancient times." Zextal opened his eyes and looked at her. "That thing has not been used for 1,000 years. Does it even work?" "I do not know, sir. But our ancestors put it there for a reason. They said it would call for help from across the galaxy when all hope was lost." The commander walked to the center of the room where an old metal box sat covered in dust. It had strange symbols on it that few people could read anymore. Inside was a device that their people had found long ago on a dead world. No one knew who made it or how it worked, but the old story said it could send a message to anyone, anywhere, asking for help. "Sir, look," Yira pointed at her screen. "The Void Hunter ships are charging their planet-killer weapons. We have maybe 1 hour left." Zextal made his choice. He opened the old box and found the beacon inside. It was a small crystal that glowed with a soft blue light. Ancient words were carved around its base, but he could not read them. "How do we use it?" he asked. "I think you just hold it and ask for help," Yira said. "The old books say it reads thoughts and feelings." The commander took the crystal in his hands. It felt warm and seemed to pulse like a living heart. He closed his eyes and thought as hard as he could. "Please," he whispered. "If anyone can hear this, we need help. The Void Hunters are going to kill everyone on our world. We are not fighters. We do not know how to stop them. Please, someone help us." The crystal grew brighter. It started to hum with a sound that made his bones shake. Energy flowed through the room, making all their machines beep and flash. Then suddenly it went dark and quiet. "Did it work?" Yira asked. "I do not know," Zextal said. He put the crystal back in the box. "I hope so." They waited. Outside, the Void Hunter ships moved closer. The planet's shields sparked and failed. People in the cities below ran through the streets, not knowing where to go or what to do. "Sir," the communications officer called out, "we are getting a message. But it is strange." "What do you mean, strange?" "It is not coming from any ship or planet we know. And the language—" "I have never heard anything like it." "Put it on the main screen." The room filled with a sound that made all the Kala people step back in fear. It was deep and rough, like rocks grinding together. But somehow, they could understand the words. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the Earth vessel Iron Wolf. We received your distress call. Hold your position. Help is coming." Zextal looked at Yira with confusion. "Earth? I have never heard of that world." "Neither have I, sir. But look at the sensors." On the screen, new signals appeared. Ships were coming out of what looked like empty space. But these were not like any ships the Kayla had ever seen. They were dark and angular, covered in weapons. They moved fast and silent like hunters in the night. "How many ships?" Zextal asked. "I count 20, no, 30. "Sir, more keep appearing. They are coming from everywhere." The Earth ships spread out around Kalara Prime like a protective wall. The Void Hunters, who had been moving forward with confidence, suddenly stopped. Even from far away, Zextal could see them turning their ships to face this new threat. "Captain Chen," Zextal spoke into his communicator. "Thank you for coming. But you should know, the Void Hunters are very dangerous. They have destroyed many worlds. Their ships are powerful and their weapons are terrible." There was a pause. Then came a sound that chilled Zextal to his core. It was laughter, but not the happy kind. It was the sound a predator makes when it finds easy prey. "Commander," Captain Chen said, and her voice was now cold as space. "You called for help from monsters to fight monsters. The thing is, we are much worse monsters than they are." "I do not understand," Zextal said. "You will. All ships. This is Iron Wolf. Target the enemy vessels. Show them why you do not threaten." A death world's children. The word death world made every Kela in the command center shiver. They had heard stories of such places. Worlds so dangerous that only the strongest, meanest creatures could survive on them. Most people thought they were just myths. The first shots came from the Earth ships. Beams of pure energy lanced across space, hitting the Void Hunter vessels. But these were not the clean, bright weapons the Kayla knew. These were raw and violent, tearing through metal like paper. One Void Hunter ship exploded, then another. The creatures that had terrorized half the galaxy suddenly found themselves fighting for their lives. "Impossible," Yura whispered. "The Void Hunters have never been beaten in battle." "Captain Chen," Zextal called out. "What are you?" "We are humans," came the reply. "We come from a world that tried to kill us every day for millions of years. We learned to fight by fighting everything. Storms, predators, disease, each other. We are what you get when a planet spends eons trying to create the perfect survivors." Another Void Hunter ship died in flames. "And now," Captain Chen continued, "these things think they can come into our galaxy and hurt people who asked us for help. They are about to learn why Earth is called the Death World." The battle raged around Kalara Prime. But it was not really a battle. It was a hunt. The humans moved their ships like living things, working together in ways that seemed impossible. They attacked from all sides, never giving the Void Hunters a chance to fight back. Zextal watched in amazement and terror. His people had called for heroes to save them. Instead, they had summoned something far more dangerous than the monsters. They feared, but these monsters were on their side. The last Void Hunter ship tried to run. Captain Sarah Chen watched it on her screen, trying to escape into the dark between stars. She almost felt sorry for it. "Almost. Iron Wolf to all ships," she said into her communicator. "Let it go. We want it to tell the others what happened here." "Ma'am, are you sure?" asked her weapons officer, a big man named Torres. "We could catch it easy." "No. Fear is a weapon too. Let them spread the word about what happens when you mess with people under human protection." On the planet below, Commander Zextal was trying to understand what he had just seen. In less than an hour, the humans had destroyed an entire Void Hunter fleet. Ships that had terrorized the galaxy for years were now floating metal and fire. "Captain Chen," he said into his communicator, "may we speak with you? Face to face?" "Of course, Commander, we will send a shuttle down, but I should warn you we might look scary to your people. After what you just did for us, I think we can handle it." 20 minutes later, a small human ship landed in the plaza outside the command center. It was black and sleek like a predator bird. When the door opened, 3 humans walked out. Zextal gasped. He had seen many different alien species in his life, but humans were something new. They walked on two legs like his people, but that was where the similarity ended. They were tall and thick with muscle. Their skin looked tough, and their eyes were sharp and always moving, watching everything. Captain Chen was the first to approach. She was smaller than the two males with her, but somehow she seemed the most dangerous. Her dark hair was tied back, and she moved like a hunter. "Commander Zextal," she said, holding out her hand. "Thank you for trusting us." Zextal looked at her hand, not sure what to do. In his culture, they touched foreheads to greet each other. "It is a handshake," Chen explained with a small smile. "You take my hand in yours and shake it gently. It means friendship." Zextal carefully took her hand. It was warm and strong, with calluses that spoke of hard work and fighting. "I have many questions," he said. "I am sure you do. May we sit somewhere and talk?" They went to the command center's meeting room. The humans sat down carefully, as if they were used to chairs breaking under them. Captain Chen looked around at all the Kayla people staring at her and her crew. "First," Zextal said, "I must thank you. You saved our world and maybe our entire species." "You do not need to thank us," Chen replied. "When someone calls for help, we answer. It is what we do." "But why? You do not know us. We have nothing to give you in return." Chen was quiet for a moment. Then she looked directly at Zextal with those sharp human eyes. "Commander, let me tell you about Earth. Our world tried to kill us from the day we learned to walk. Ice ages, volcanoes, earthquakes, storms that could level cities. Animals with teeth like knives and claws like swords hunted us every day. Disease that could wipe out entire communities in weeks." She paused and looked out the window at the peaceful Kayla city below. "We learned to work together because we had to. If we did not help each other, we all died. It became part of who we are. When we see someone in trouble, something deep inside us makes us want to help." "Even strangers?" asked Yera, who had been listening quietly. "Especially strangers," said one of the other humans, a man with scars on his face. "My name is Sergeant Rodriguez. Where I come from on Earth, we had a saying, 'No one fights alone.' But you are so—" Zextal searched for the right word. "Violent. The way you destroyed those ships." Captain Chen's face went hard. "Commander, there is something you need to understand about humans. We can be the kindest people in the galaxy. We will share our food with hungry strangers and risk our lives to save people we have never met." She leaned forward, and her voice became cold. "But if you hurt someone we are protecting, if you threaten innocent people, then you meet the other side of humanity. The side that survived when everything on our world was trying to kill us. The Void Hunters have been destroying worlds for decades," Zextal said. "How did you defeat them so easily?" "Easy?" Rodriguez laughed. "Commander, we have been fighting wars for thousands of years. We fought each other. We fought our planet. We fought everything. Those Void Hunters might scare peaceful people like you, but to us, they were just another enemy." The third human, a woman with white hair, spoke for the first time. "I am Dr. Hayes. I studied their ships while we fought them. Their weapons and tactics are designed to terrify and overwhelm civilized species. But humans, we grew up terrified. Fear is just another day for us." "What happens now?" Zextal asked. "Will you stay and protect us?" Captain Chen shook her head. "We cannot stay forever, but we will leave some ships here for a while, and we will teach your people how to defend themselves." "We are not fighters," Yera said quietly. "We do not know how to hurt others." "You do not have to become killers," Hayes replied gently. "But you can learn to protect yourselves. There are ways to fight that do not require you to become like us." "What do you mean?" "Defense systems, shields, weapons that disable instead of destroy. We can teach you to be strong without losing who you are." Captain Chen stood up. Commander, we are going to ask you to do something that might be hard. What is that? We want you to contact other peaceful worlds in this sector. Tell them what happened here. Tell them about the beacon you used to call us. Zextal felt confused. Why would we do that? Because there are more monsters out there. The Void Hunters were just one group. And there are probably other peaceful species who need help, but do not know where to find it. Rodriguez nodded. We humans have a rule. We protect those who cannot protect themselves, but we cannot be everywhere at once. If other species know how to call us, we can help them too. You would do this for strangers across the galaxy? Zextal asked. Commander, Captain Chen said, walking to the window. Look at your city down there. Look at your people going about their lives, safe now because we answered your call. Zextal looked down at the plaza where Kayla families were hugging each other, grateful to be alive. That feeling you have right now, knowing your people are safe, that is why we do this. Every species deserves to feel that way. Dr. Hayes pulled out a small device. This is a beacon like the one you used, but improved. It will send a message directly to human space. Any world can use it if they are in real danger. But how will you know if the call is real? Yira asked. What if someone uses it as a trick? Captain Chen smiled, but it was not a nice smile. Trust me, we can tell the difference between someone who needs help and someone trying to trap us. And if someone tries to trick us... She shrugged. Well, let us just say that would be a very bad idea. The humans prepared to leave. As they walked, back to their shuttle, Zextal called out, Captain Chen, what should we tell other species about humans? She stopped and thought for a moment. Tell them we are the monsters who fight monsters. Tell them that if they are innocent and in danger, we will come. But also tell them this. We do not forgive those who hurt the helpless. We do not forget those who prey on the weak. And we never stop hunting those who think they can terrorize others without consequences. The shuttle took off, leaving Zextal and his people to think about what they had learned. Humanity was out there in the dark, watching and waiting, ready to answer the call when evil threatened the innocent, and the galaxy would never be the same. 3 months after the battle at Kalara Prime, word spread across the galaxy like wildfire. In the crystal cities of Vexari, the bird-like people whispered about the DEATHWORLDERS who had saved the Kayla. In the underwater cities of Mertalk, the fish people shared stories of human ships that moved like hunting sharks. Even in the distant Outer Rim, where few travelers went, people had heard about Earth and its terrifying children, but it was on the mining world of Greshka that the next call came. Foreman Baltok was a Gresh, one of the rock people from the heavy gravity worlds. He stood 8 feet tall and his skin was like stone, but even he was afraid. The Crimson Syndicate had come to his world with their red ships and their demands. You will give us half of all the metal you mine, the Syndicate leader had told him through the communication screen. And you will give us workers to mine other worlds. If you refuse, we will destroy your cities and take everything anyway. The Gresh were strong, but they were not fighters. They dug deep into planets and pulled out the metals that other species needed. They were proud of their work and loved their families. They did not want war. I have heard stories, Baltok's daughter Kira said to him as they stood in the mining station's control room, about a species called humans. They say these humans help people who are in trouble. Stories, Baltok grumbled. Probably not true. But father, what if they are true? The Kela people say the humans saved their world from the Void Hunters. Baltok looked at the communication device on his desk. The Syndicate had given him 3 days to decide. 2 days had already passed. Even if these humans exist, he said, why would they help us? We are just miners. Because that is what they do, Kira replied. The stories all say the same thing. They protect people who cannot protect themselves. That night, Baltok could not sleep. He walked through the mining tunnels, thinking about his choice. Outside, he could see the red lights of syndicate ships waiting in orbit. They were patient now, but he knew that would not last. In the deepest part of the mine, he found the old emergency beacon. The mining companies had put them on all their worlds, just in case. But this one was different. It was new, with strange markings he did not recognize. Kira had followed him. "Father, that is not our old beacon. Someone replaced it." Baltok looked closer. There were words carved into the metal in his language. "For those who need help from the monsters." "The humans," Kira whispered. "They must have left this when they helped the Kayla." Baltok picked up the beacon. It was heavy and warm, like it was alive. "What do I tell them?" he asked his daughter. "Tell them the truth. Tell them we need help." Baltok closed his eyes and spoke to the device. "My name is Baltok of Greshka. We are miners, not fighters. The Crimson Syndicate wants to take our metal and our people. We have 1 day left before they attack. If anyone can help us, please come." The beacon glowed bright red for a moment, then went dark. They waited. The next morning, the Syndicate ships moved closer to the planet. Their leader's face appeared on every screen in every city. "Gresh people," the alien said with a cruel smile. "Your time is up. We are coming down to take what we want. Do not try to resist." Baltok gathered his family and workers in the main mining complex. They had no weapons, no warships, nowhere to run. All they could do was wait and hope. The Syndicate ships entered the atmosphere like falling stars. Their weapons charged, ready to destroy anything that stood in their way. Then space seemed to tear open. A massive human ship came out of what looked like empty space. It was bigger than any Syndicate vessel, black as night, and covered in weapons. Behind it came more ships, smaller but just as deadly. "This is Admiral Jackson of the Earthship Vengeance," a deep voice said over every radio on the planet. "Crimson Syndicate vessels, you are ordered to leave this system immediately." The Syndicate leader's face appeared on the screens again. But now he looked worried. "Human ship, this is not your concern. We have business with these people." "You made it our concern when you threatened innocent miners," Admiral Jackson replied. "You have 30 seconds to turn around and leave." "There are 20 of our ships and only 5 of yours," the Syndicate leader said, trying to sound brave. "You cannot stop us." There was a pause. Then Admiral Jackson spoke again, and his voice was like ice. "You know what? You are right. 5 ships is not enough." Another pause. "Fleet, this is Vengeance. Execute Echo Protocol." Space around Greshka suddenly filled with human ships. They came from everywhere, as if they had been hiding in the dark between stars. Dozens of them, all different sizes, all armed for war. "Now, there are 47 of us," Admiral Jackson said calmly. "Would you like to reconsider?" Down on the planet, Baltok watched the screens in amazement. "How did they get here so fast?" he asked. His communication officer, a young Gresh named Tokla, was looking at his instruments. "Sir, according to this, they were already here. They have been hiding in the asteroid field for hours. But how did they know to come?" Before anyone could answer, a new voice came over the radio. It was Captain Chen from the Iron Wolf. "Foreman Baltok, this is Captain Sarah Chen. We got your message and came as fast as we could. Are you and your people safe?" "Yes, Captain, we are safe. But I do not understand. How did you know to bring so many ships?" "Because we learned something after we saved the Keela world," Chen replied. "Word travels fast in this galaxy. When one group of bullies gets stopped, others hear about it. They start making plans to test us. So we made plans too. In space above them, the Syndicate ships were backing away." Their leader came on the screen one more time. "This is not over, humans. The Crimson Syndicate does not forget. Admiral Jackson's voice came back, cold and hard. Good, because neither do we. If we see your ships near any mining world, any peaceful planet, or anywhere innocent people are trying to live their lives, we will hunt you down. Pass that message to your bosses. The red ships fled into space, moving as fast as they could away from Greshka. An hour later, Captain Chen and Admiral Jackson came down to meet with Baltok and his people. The humans were different from what the Gresh had expected. They were smaller than Gresh, but they moved with the confidence of natural fighters. "Thank you," Baltok said, offering the human greeting he had learned about. "You saved our world." "No thanks needed," Admiral Jackson replied. He was an older human with gray hair and scars on his hands. "But we need to talk about what happens next." "What do you mean?" Captain Chen answered. "Baltok, your world is not the first one the Syndicate has threatened. They have taken over 6 mining operations in this sector. The problem is getting worse. What can we do? We are just miners." "You can help us help others," Admiral Jackson said. "We want to set up a base here with your permission. Nothing big, just a few ships and some personnel. When other worlds call for help, we can respond faster." Baltok looked around at his people. They were nodding, agreeing. "You would do this for strangers?" he asked. "Baltok," Captain Chen said, sitting down so she was closer to his eye level. "Let me tell you something about humans. On our world, we had an old saying, 'Evil wins when good people do nothing.' We decided a long time ago that we would never do nothing. But there must be thousands of worlds that need help. How can you protect them all?" Admiral Jackson smiled. "We cannot, but we do not have to. Word is spreading about what happens when bullies try to hurt innocent people. Some of the bad guys are backing off, and some of the good guys are starting to stand up for themselves. We also have a plan," Chen added. "We are going to teach other species how to defend themselves, not how to attack others, but how to protect their homes and families. The Kela have already started building defense platforms around their world," Admiral Jackson said. "Simple ones that cannot hurt anyone who is not attacking them, but strong enough to make raiders think twice." Tokla, the young communication officer, stepped forward. "Humans, may I ask you a question?" "Of course. Why do you care so much about people you have never met?" Captain Chen was quiet for a moment. Then she looked up at the ceiling, as if she was looking past it to the stars. "Because somewhere out there right now, there is a family sitting around their dinner table, talking about their day and making plans for tomorrow. They do not know that bad people are coming to hurt them. They do not know that their world might be destroyed before they wake up." She looked back at Tokla. "But we know, and if we can stop it, then that family gets to have breakfast together in the morning. Their children get to grow up and have families of their own. That is why we care." Baltok felt something warm in his chest. These humans were strange creatures, soft in some ways, but harder than diamond in others. "You can build your base here," he said, "and if you need miners to help build it, we know how to move rock and metal." Admiral Jackson grinned. "Now that sounds like the beginning of a beautiful friendship." 6 months later, everything had changed. The human base on Greshka was not just a military station. It had become something bigger. Species from across the sector came there to learn, to trade, and to ask for help. The Gresh miners worked alongside human engineers. Kela scientists shared their knowledge with human doctors. It was the first time in galactic history that so many different peoples had worked together as equals. But not everyone was happy about the changes. Deep in the dark nebula, where few ships ever traveled, the overlords of the hegemony were meeting. These were the old powers of the galaxy, the ones who had ruled through fear and strength for thousands of years. "The humans must be stopped," hissed Lord Vexran, his snake-like body coiled around his command chair. "They are ruining everything we have built." "Agreed," rumbled General Korth, a massive creature with 4 arms and skin like armor. "Before the humans came, Species knew their place. The strong ruled and the weak obeyed. Now everyone thinks they can fight back. Supreme Overlord Zargoth sat at the head of the table, his ancient face showing his anger. He had lived for 800 years, and had never seen his power challenged like this. "The humans think they are clever," he said in a voice like grinding metal. "They hide behind words like justice and protection. But they are just another species that wants to control the galaxy." "What do we do about them?" asked Admiral Draktos, commander of the Hegemony's war fleets. "We show the galaxy what happens to those who challenge the natural order," Zargoth replied. "We find their strongest base and we destroy it. We kill every human there and broadcast it to every world. Then species will remember why they should fear us, not trust these soft-hearted apes." "The base on Greshka," General Korth suggested. "It is their newest installation. If we destroy it and the mining world, we send a clear message." "Perfect," Zargoth smiled, showing teeth like black daggers. "Admiral, take the entire Third Fleet. I want overwhelming force. Leave nothing alive." 2 days later, the largest war fleet in Hegemony history jumped into the Greshka system. 300 ships of every size, from small fighters to massive dreadnoughts. They had come to end the human experiment once and for all. On the planet, alarms started ringing in the human base. Commander Lisa Park, who ran the station, looked at her sensors and felt her blood go cold. "How many ships?" she asked her sensor operator. 300, ma'am. Maybe more. They are bigger than anything we have seen before." Park activated the emergency communication system. "All stations, this is Greshka Base. We have a massive enemy fleet incoming." "Requesting immediate assistance," the reply came back within seconds. It was Admiral Jackson's voice, but he sounded different, harder, angrier. "Commander Park, this is Jackson. We see them. Hold your position. Help is coming." "Sir, there are 300 ships out there." "How many can you send?" "All of them?" Park did not understand what he meant until space around Greshka began to fill with human vessels. But these were not the same ships that had fought the Void Hunters or chased off the Crimson Syndicate. These were bigger, newer, and covered in weapons that looked like they could crack planets. And they kept coming. "Sir," her sensor operator said, his voice shaking, "I count 500 human ships. No, 600. They are still arriving." On the Hegemony flagship, Admiral Draktos was staring at his own screens in disbelief. "How is this possible?" he asked his officers. "Where did they get so many ships?" "Admiral," his intelligence officer replied, "our spies report that humans have been building fleets for months. Not just military ships. Every human colony, every human world has been contributing." "What do you mean?" "Sir, it appears that when humans are threatened, their entire species responds. These are not just military vessels. Some are merchant ships with weapons attached. Others are mining vessels converted to warships. They have turned their entire civilization into a war machine." Admiral Draktos felt something he had not experienced in decades. Fear. The human fleet formed a wall between the Hegemony ships and Greshka. At the center was a ship larger than any vessel Draktos had ever seen. It was sleek and black with weapons that looked like they belonged on a battle station. Not a ship. "Hegemony fleet," came a voice that made everyone listening feel cold. "This is Fleet Admiral Marcus Stone of the Earthship Retribution. You are ordered to leave this system immediately." Admiral Draktos tried to sound confident when he replied, "Human Commander, you are outnumbered. We have 300 ships to your however many you have." "We have exactly 743 combat vessels," Admiral Stone replied calmly. "But numbers do not matter. What matters is this. You came here to kill innocent people. That was a mistake." "We came here to restore order to the galaxy," Draktos said. "The Hegemony has ruled these stars for millennia. You are newcomers who do not understand how things work." There was a long pause. Then Admiral Stone spoke again, and his voice was like a promise of death. "Admiral, let me explain how things work now. You see, humans have a rule. We do not start fights, but we finish them. And when someone threatens our friends, our allies, or innocent people under our protection, we do not just fight back. We make sure that the threat never comes back." On Greshka, Baltok and his people were watching the confrontation from their shelters. The Gresh foreman looked at Commander Park with worry in his stone-like eyes. "Commander, there are so many ships up there. Will there be a battle?" Park was listening to her communication system, hearing reports from across the human fleet. Ships were taking positions, weapons were charging, and fighters were launching from the larger vessels. "I do not know, Baltok. I hope not. But if there is—" She looked at him seriously. "You should know that every human ship up there volunteered to come here. They left their homes and families to protect your world and your people. Why would they do that?" "Because you called for help, and we answer." In space, the two fleets faced each other across a few thousand kilometers of empty void. The hegemony ships were arranged in the old battle formations, designed to overwhelm and destroy. The human ships were spread out in patterns that seemed random, but somehow felt more dangerous. "Hegemony fleet," Admiral Stone's voice came again. "You have 30 seconds to turn around and leave. If you do not, we will consider it an act of war against not just the humans, but against every species under our protection. You cannot protect them all," Admiral Draktos replied. "Even you do not have enough ships to guard every world." "You might be right," Stone admitted. "But here is the thing about humans. When you hurt one of us, you make enemies of all of us. When you threaten our friends, you threaten our families, and humans will travel across the galaxy to protect their families." Suddenly, new contacts appeared on the sensors. Ships were jumping into the system from every direction, but these were not human vessels. "Admiral," the hegemony intelligence officer said, his voice full of panic. "We have incoming ships. Kayla vessels, Gresh mining ships, even some of the neutral species. They are all armed and moving to support the humans." Admiral Draktos stared at his screen. What had started as a simple mission to destroy a human base had become something else entirely. The humans had not just built a military alliance, they had created a family of species that would fight for each other. "Admiral Stone," came a new voice over the communication system. It was Commander Zextal of the Keela. "This is the Kalara Defense Fleet. We stand with our human friends." "This is Foreman Baltok of the Gresh Mining Consortium," came another voice. "Our ships are not pretty, but they are strong. We will fight beside the humans who saved our world." More voices joined in. Species that had never worked together before were united by one thing. The humans had helped them when no one else would. Admiral Stone's voice came back over the communication system, but now it was warmer, almost proud. "Hegemony Fleet, you came here to show the galaxy what happens to those who challenge you. Instead, you are about to learn what happens to those who threaten a family." The human fleet began to move forward, and with them came the ships of a dozen different species. They moved as one, united by something stronger than fear or greed. They moved with hope. Admiral Draktos looked at his tactical display and realized that the hegemony had already lost, even if no shots were fired. The old order was ending, and something new was beginning, something better. Admiral Draktos had been a warrior for 300 years. He had conquered worlds and destroyed fleets. He had never retreated from a battle in his life. But as he looked at the combined human and allied fleet moving toward his ships, he made a choice that would change galactic history. "All ships," he said into his communicator. "Stand down. Do not fire unless fired upon." "Admiral," his second-in-command asked, "what are your orders?" Draktos looked at the screen showing hundreds of ships from dozens of species all working together, all willing to fight and die for each other. Open a channel to the human admiral, he said quietly. Admiral Stone, this is Admiral Draktos. I request permission to speak with you privately. There was a pause. Then Stone's voice came back. Very well. You have 1 minute. Admiral, in my 3 centuries of war, I have learned to recognize when a battle cannot be won. But this is not about winning or losing anymore, is it? No, it is not, Stone replied. May I ask you something, human? Go ahead. How did you do it? How did you turn so many different species into allies so quickly? Admiral Stone was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke again, his voice was thoughtful. Admiral, we did not turn them into anything. We just treated them the way we would want to be treated. We helped them when they needed help. We protected them when they were in danger. We listened to them when they spoke. That is all. But you gained nothing from it. No tribute, no territory, no slaves. We gained friends, Stone said simply, and friends are worth more than all the territory in the galaxy. Admiral Draktos felt something strange in his chest. For the first time in centuries, he was seeing a different way to live. Admiral Stone, what if I told you that not all members of the hegemony agree with our current path? What if some of us are tired of ruling through fear? I would say that everyone deserves a chance to choose a better way, Stone replied. And if I ordered my ships to leave this system and never return, then you would be welcome to visit Greshka as a friend, instead of an enemy. Down on the planet, Baltok and his daughter Kira were listening to the conversation through the communication system. Other species across the sector were listening too. The words being spoken above Greshka were being heard on 1,000 worlds. Father, Kira said softly, do you think he will really leave? I do not know, daughter. But I think we are watching history being made. In space, Admiral Draktos made his decision. All hegemony ships. This is Admiral Draktos. We are returning to base. Set course for home. Admiral, his second-in-command protested, the overlords will not understand. They will call it cowardice. Let them, Draktos replied. I have spent 300 years serving fear. Today I choose to serve something better. The hegemony fleet began to turn away from Greshka. But before they could leave, Admiral Stone's voice came over the communication system one more time. Admiral Draktos. Yes? The offer stands. If any of your people ever need help, real help, you know how to reach us. Thank you, Admiral Stone. Perhaps we will speak again under better circumstances. As the hegemony ships disappeared into space, the combined human and allied fleet began to disperse. But something had changed in the galaxy that day. Word of what happened at Greshka spread faster than light, carried by traders and travelers. To every corner of known space, the age of ruling through fear was ending. The age of cooperation was beginning. 3 weeks later, Commander Park received an unexpected visitor at Greshka Base. A single ship arrived, flying the flag of the hegemony, but this time, it came in peace. The ship landed, and out stepped Admiral Draktos. He was alone except for a small staff, and he carried no weapons. Admiral, Commander Park said as she met him at the landing pad, this is unexpected. Commander Park, I come with a message from a group within the hegemony. There are many of us who want to change how we do things. We want to learn about this alliance you have built. What kind of change are you talking about? We want to stop taking from other species and start working with them. We want to protect instead of conquer. We want to be part of something bigger than ourselves. Park looked at this old warrior, seeing something different in his eyes than she had expected. That is a big change, Admiral. Why now? Because 3 weeks ago, I saw something I had never seen before. I saw hundreds of different species choose to stand together. Not because they were forced to, but because they wanted to. I saw what the galaxy could be if we were better than we are. That evening, Admiral Draktos sat with Baltok, Commander Park, and representatives from several allied species. They talked late into the night about trade agreements, defense pacts, and cultural exchanges. Admiral, Baltok said as the meeting was ending. May I ask you a personal question? Of course. What will happen to you when you return to the hegemony? Will the other overlords accept these changes? Draktos smiled sadly. Probably not all of them. Some will call me a traitor. Some will try to remove me from command. But others, the younger officers and the ones who are tired of endless war, they will listen. And if they do not, then those of us who want change will leave and start something new. The galaxy is big enough for many different ways of life. Commander Park leaned forward. Admiral, you should know that if you do leave the hegemony, you and your people would be welcome here. We believe in second chances. 6 months later, the first hegemony refugees arrived at Greshka. They were soldiers and civilians who had chosen cooperation over conquest. They brought with them advanced technology and knowledge of the galaxy's darker corners, but they also brought something else, information about other threats that were growing in the void between stars. Ancient enemies of all life that made the Void Hunters look like children with toys. Commander, Admiral Draktos said as he showed Park the intelligence reports. What my people have learned about the Deep Dark makes the hegemony look like peaceful traders. There are things out there that want to consume all life in the galaxy. Park looked at the reports and felt a chill. How long do we have? Maybe a year. Maybe 2. But they are coming. That night, Park sent a message to Earth and every allied world. The message was simple but clear. A new threat was approaching, bigger and more dangerous than anything they had faced before. The response came back within hours. Ships began moving toward the outer rim. Weapons were manufactured. Alliances were strengthened. And on 1,000 worlds, different species looked up at the stars and knew that whatever was coming, they would face it together. In his quarters on Greshka Base, Admiral Stone received a report from his intelligence officer. Sir, we are getting reports from across the galaxy. Species that have never worked together before are forming mutual defense pacts. The hegemony refugees are sharing their military knowledge. Even some of the neutral worlds are asking to join the alliance. Stone looked out his window at the stars, thinking about the future. What did the old Earth philosophers used to say? He asked himself. The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. His communication officer interrupted his thoughts. Sir, we are receiving a distress call. It is from the far edge of the galaxy. They say something is attacking their worlds, something they have never seen before. Stone straightened up. How far away? 2 weeks at maximum speed, sir. Signal. The fleet. We are going to answer the call. As human ships prepared to jump to yet another rescue mission, Stone thought about how it had all started. One peaceful species had called for help, not knowing what they were summoning. They had called for heroes and gotten monsters instead. But these monsters fought for justice, protected the innocent, and turned enemies into friends. And now, as the galaxy faced its greatest challenge, it would not face it alone. Hundreds of species, united by hope instead of fear, would stand together against the darkness. The age of the DEATHWORLDERS had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same.